Hey everybody, Jeff Stone here with day 70 of the year 2015 at magicreviewed.com. We're checking out Meridian Technique today by Mark Elsdon. So basically, here's what you get. It's 2 DVDs and it's about 3 hours long. And there's a whole bunch of tricks on there and they're taught, but that's not what you're really getting. And this is right out of the ad copy, so I'm not exposing anything here. What you're getting is a concept. So this is for strolling magicians. So if you work as a strolling magician, I'm just going to tell you right now, you need to get this. But this is what it is. If you've ever seen the TV shows like the Blaine specials or even the Copperfield specials, they always had like one big trick at the end of the show, and then during the the main part of the program, there's little effects, and then during the commercial break, they tease the big show and stay tuned. And David Copperfield's gonna make the Statue of Liberty disappear, make float over the Grand Canyon, or make the train car disappear, or whatever the big illusion was at the end, the spikes of death or whatever it was. So that what Mark Elsdon has done is applied that idea to close-up magic. And so what he does throughout the shift, let's say he's working a 2-hour gig, strolling from table to table at a restaurant or bar or something, what he'll do is during the performance at each table, he will tease the big effect that's coming up at the end of the night. And he'll let them know, yeah, my shift's over in half an hour or an hour or whatever. And so I'm going to come back and get you, and we're all going to go meet over there down, at the end of the bar or whatever place in the restaurant. And I'm going to do, and he tells them the trick there. So for example, solve the Rubik's Cube blindfold. That's one of the effects he does. So at the table, he's teasing that idea to them, telling them a little bit about the cube, a little bit about what he's going to do, and that he's going to solve it blindfolded at the end of the night. So by the end of the night, he has gone back to the tables he's worked, brought the whole crowd back in one spot in the restaurant or the bar, and there's like 40 or 50 people there. And then he does this big production, and I don't mean like producing something like magically, he just does this big stage production, if you will, of his 3-minute trick, which is solving the Rubik's Cube blindfolded or whatever. There's several different effects that he does as that grand finale, so that way if he performs tonight and then tomorrow he's got maybe some repeat customers, he has a different grand finale. So he's got about anywhere between 8 and 10 in his arsenal that he uses as grand finales on different nights. He goes over all those effects, but that's the concept. So think about that concept for a minute. If you work as a strolling magician, first of all, especially if you're at a bar, okay, at a restaurant that doesn't have a bar, and then turnover is important. But at a bar, the longer they're there, the more they're drinking, the more money they're spending. And so the idea is that he's keeping people there and keeping them for the end of the night show. So that does lots of things. First of all, it can potentially bring in revenue, more revenue for the bar owner or whatever. Secondly, it builds you up like this, rock star at the end of the night. And you got this big crowd of people around you cheering you on. And he talks about how, and if you've ever done a strolling gig, you've had this experience, I'm sure, where you end the night, your shift's 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever, and then, the guy that hired you isn't around, you can't find him, so you just kind of take off, and you kind of just feel like, well, I guess the night's over, I'm just going to leave. With this, there's a nice climax at the end of it, hence the term Meridian. At the end of the show, it's the high point of the night, and you go out with a bang, and you feel good about yourself. The owner and the wait staff or whoever's around, they see this big event happening, everybody cheering and applauding and whatever. And so you just added a huge amount of visible, tangible value to your strolling set. And when you book yourself, you tell them, look, nobody else is doing this. This is a unique thing that I'm doing with my gig or whatever. And so you need to hire me. And that's the idea. So that's the basic concept, and it goes over in great depth, what kinds of tricks to do, how to sell them, how to tease them throughout the show, how to do the effects, and on and on and on. So let's talk a little bit about some of the effects. But before we do, just know this: this is not a DVD that's about learning tricks. Okay, he's teaching this concept, and he's using, for example, the Rubik's blind Rubik's solve, or for example the the Russian roulette spike thing, or for example the ninja rings, or for example, and he just uses these different effects to show you conceptually what's going on. For example, coin in bottle, and the idea is, look at how I, Mark Elsdon, am teasing these throughout the day, throughout the shift, and look at how I build them up, look at how I perform them, and now look in your own repertoire or marketed effects that you've purchased and apply them as your grand finale for your own Meridian technique. So, some of the effects he covers on the DVD, you actually see a performance footage of him teasing the effects. You see just clips of him teasing it. You don't actually see his close-up strolling repertoire. You just see him, how he teases it. And then you see him perform the grand finale. They show 4 live performances of the tease and then the grand finale. One is the Rubik's Cube blind solve. One is coin and bottle. One is the smash and stab. And one is a memory thing. Essentially, just a slight modification of Bob Cassidy's card memory, where the deck is shuffled and then you give some of the cards to this group and some of the cards to that group, and then you're able to, from memory, tell, okay, the 4 of diamonds is over here and the 9 of diamonds is over there, and this and that, and this is over there and that's over there. So that's a memory demonstration. Again, you don't have to use any of those, but that's 4 that he shows live of actual footage. Then when we get to the explanation part of things, he actually walks through several more ideas. So, Rubik Remembered. Blindfold Rubik's Cube Solve. He actually does not teach you how to solve the cube, so he does direct you to some resources on how to solve it, but he teaches you everything else you need to know for that effect. For the smash and stab, he teaches you everything you need to know for that effect, but the catch is you have to go buy the props for it. Or you could probably, with that, you may be able to make up some of it, but you still have to, you're going to have to buy some stuff. So, but again, he tells you where to get it. Now, I will say this. There's one thing that bugged me a little bit. With the smash and stab, that's a dangerous effect. And he said that he knows of a lot of people who don't do it because they're afraid that they're going to, obviously I'm sure you know that generally speaking how the smash and stabs work is you secretly know where the spike is and you just never smash that cup, right? How you know is not for me to divulge, but you somehow know this. Well, Mark says that he knows people that don't do that trick because since they know it, they're afraid that they'll fixate on it and accidentally hit that cup when they meant to hit a different one. And Mark Elsdon's response to that was, if you believe that, then please don't get into a car, because you might fixate on all these cars you're trying not to hit and get into a wreck. To me, that was a very irresponsible thing to say, because people get into wrecks. I mean, Mark Elsdon's probably been in a wreck before. I don't know that, but just about everybody's been into a car accident before, and it just, accidents happen. And so that spike thing, it's an actual real spike that if you hit it, it's gonna freaking hurt. And so for him to just say so flippantly that it's not dangerous, you know where it's at, you won't hit it. I mean, things happen, What if you're tired at that gig that night and you know it's under cup number 2 or whatever, but you just have a brain cramp for a minute and you smash number 2. That kind of stuff happens to people. It happens. I mean, we've all done it. We've all, accidentally put the milk in the cupboard instead of the fridge, right? Those kinds of things happen to people. So I felt that was irresponsible of him to say that. He did then sort of backpedal a little bit and say, well, if you're afraid of doing this, don't do this trick. We don't want anybody to get hurt. But that aside, that's really my only complaint in this whole DVD set. So moving on to the coin and bottle. I mean, it's the same method that we all know, that you probably have done before, but he knows how to build this stuff up. And the other thing I like about this, he has everything signed. He has, even has him sign the Rubik's Cube on the stickers. He has them sign the bottle, sign the coin. He has, and by the end of the night, there's 20 signatures on the bottle and so many signatures on the coin that you can't really read them, if you know what I'm saying. And if you watch the ad trailer, you'll even know better what I'm saying. about that coin thing. Even when he does the smash and stab, he has the cups, the paper cups signed all over the place. When he does the ninja not tossed out, I was thinking of the Patrick Redford ninja tossed out deck. The ninja rings by Shutogawa. He even has the little stickers that you can wrap around the rings that are signed. And so all the while he's building this up, getting all the props signed so that this makes it personal. They see their signatures on all this stuff, and it just builds everything up. So again, the ninja rings, you're going to have to buy the rings, obviously. So I'm not going to go into every single effect, but one concept that I really liked in there was he showed this old marketed effect that he bought a while ago that was in his junk drawer because he just couldn't find a place to use it. And then he found that it was the perfect thing for the Meridian technique. And so now he just resurrected this old prop out of his junk drawer, this old trick. And it's a trick where you have a light bulb in a plastic bag, and just by concentrating, the light bulb smashes itself and breaks. And so his point there was that, you know, you may not have to buy anything. You might already have in your junk drawer stuff that's maybe not as junk as you thought it was, and you can add it back into your repertoire and you can use it for the Meridian technique. So bottom line is you're not going to learn a whole bunch of new tricks here. You're going to learn how to use either effects you already know or effects that are marketed, or just effects in general that might already be in your repertoire, that you're going to learn how to potentially apply those to the Meridian technique. He gives you the rules on what is required from his perspective to be considered a Meridian effect, or he calls them macro tricks. But the whole thing, I mean, it's in such great depth. It covers everything. It's 3 hours, lots of live footage, lots of different ideas, lots of different effects you can use. And then there's him and Andy Gladwin are there discussing it and talking about it. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. 4.5 stars, stone status of gem. If you are a strolling magician at all, ever, if you ever have a strolling gig, ever, you need to have this. This will totally drastically up your value in the eyes of the audience members, your own self, and the person who booked you. 4.5 stars, stone status of gem. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, listen to the random iTunes song of the moment, which is, oh my gosh, Material Girl, but not by Madonna. It's her song, but it's a cover by Walk Off the Earth. If you've listened to my channel for a while, you know I'm a fan of Walk Off the Earth. And they do some great covers, man. And their videos are awesome. So make sure you check out their YouTube channel. I'll put a link to this one in the description below. Tune in tomorrow, guys. Day 71, where we do attempt number 2 at Ocular. I tried to review this a while back, and the video was bad. And so hopefully it'll work, and we'll be reviewing this tomorrow. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then. Peace out.